Am I the antagonist for not giving my daughter my boyfriend's last name? I want to give as much information as I can. I, female 22, am giving my daughter my last name instead of my boyfriend, male 24 Tachi. I want to feel like I'm making the right decision, but his family is pressuring me and making me second-guess myself as well as my boyfriend. When I first found out, I just always assumed I'd give her my last name. We have only been together for 6 months, this way in no way planned, but it happens. We aren't married and I haven't been with him long enough to know if it could lead to marriage. It was bad timing, but I'm excited. I don't doubt he will be a good father to his daughter with or without me in the picture. When we first had the last name conversation, he said that was the last name was all he wanted, and he didn't care what the first name would be. It was the tone and what he said that rubbed me the wrong way. You care more about her last name that will change one day than her first name she'll have for the rest of her life? I think it's a big pride and traditional thing for him, but none of this is traditional. We aren't married. We had only been together for a bit over 2 months when I found out. None of this is traditional whatsoever. I'm also not a traditional person. I don't agree that a woman should change her name when getting married if she doesn't want to, while he does. I respect his views, but they aren't mine. I just would like some opinions other than his or mine. His family has done nothing for the baby or me through this pregnancy, while my family has bought swings, crib, stroller, clothes, diapers, bathing stuff. Everything baby related, and I'm only 19 weeks. They are so excited. It's not about money. Both our families are doing well for themselves, and maybe it's selfish of me to think about those kind of things. It makes me feel unsupported by them, and when we told them together, they had some excited, but told him to establish paternity rights before they said anything like, "Congratulations," as if we hadn't talked about it. It was just very off-putting. It's perfectly reasonable to give your baby your last name. Tradition is usually that a baby from an unwed mother gets the mother's last name, so go with your gut regardless. He wants to be a traditionalist, but it's beyond presumptuous for him to assume the baby gets his last name. Screw his family's pressure. They are not relevant in this decision. Honestly, you don't know this man and he may leave if he leaves you, so give your daughter your last name. Am I the antagonist for refusing to arrange my ex's funeral? I recently found myself in an extremely difficult situation after the passing of my ex-partner. We were in a relationship for 4 years, lived together, and broke up about 5 months ago due to her severe depression, which was affecting my own mental health. She recently passed away tragically without close family or friends to handle the responsibility of arranging her funeral, except for a grandmother in an aged care facility. So the responsibility fell on me. I feel immense sadness over her death, but don't want to arrange the funeral. My ex struggled with depression for a long time, and supporting her through it had taken a toll on me emotionally and financially. Now I am struggling to cope and feel guilty for not taking on the responsibility. Am I wrong for refusing to arrange my ex's funeral? It sounds like a tough situation, but you shouldn't have to bear the burden of arranging a funeral for someone who may not have many attendees anyways. If there are mutual friends in a community who want to show love and find closure, they could help with the arrangements. It's not your responsibility to shoulder the financial burden if you can't afford it. This situation is heartbreaking and definitely beyond Reddit's expertise. My girlfriend, 24F, cheated on me, 23, with her ex and he got her pregnant. Advice? We met in California. I was on a business trip and she was visiting for fun. She is Mexican and lives in Mexico. Her dad owns a very large and successful business, and she is well off. We have been together almost a year. I have flown to Mexico to see her, but she has mostly flown to the United States to visit me. She has been the best girlfriend I have ever had, always insisting on cooking for me, loving me, being very sweet and romantic, and drop-dead gorgeous in every way. She even offered to send me her live location, and all her passwords. I never asked but took it as a sign of purity of her heart that she has nothing to hide. Our values also align as she wants a big family, and so do I. So I pursued this relationship with her seriously. Her only relationship before me was for 10 years, which I also took as a green flag, more stability than several short relationships. This ex now lives in Denver, important for later. They had been broken up for 1 year when I met her. Things had been going great, until 1 month ago. I heard rumors about her seeing her ex several times within the last month, spending 3 hours in his car alone at night, sleeping with him, and going out for meals together. I decided to immediately call her and talk to her about it. After lying to my face and denying all of it, she finally admitted she saw him and spent hours in his car alone, but she insisted that nothing physical happened. I told her if she ever lies to me again, I will leave her, and I decided to trust her again. Then things were great, and back to normal. But 4 days ago, she told me she was going out of town for work for the weekend, and she wouldn't be able to talk much. She said she was on her way to the airport to pick someone up. Then she hung up and stopped answering my calls. I saw her location as she arrived at the airport, and which airplane was arriving at that time. Denver. So obviously she's with her ex, and still won't answer my calls. I continue to watch the location as she arrives at a restaurant. I try calling her again several times, but she declines them all immediately, and then stops sharing her location. Now I'm freaking out thinking, what the hell? Where did all this come from? The next day she sends me a photo of a waiting room. I am at a work appointment. However, there's a logo on the floor, and I find out it's for a gynecologist. Now I'm even more angry and confused what she could possibly be hiding from me. That night, I decide to log into her menstrual cycle app, one of the passwords she gave me, and find that she logged having unprotected sex with her ex 4 times in the past couple months, all without me. One of them was the day after she was with me, and another was the night she picked him up from the airport. What's the cherry on top? She's 10 days late for her period. I'll let you piece together the rest. She doesn't know that I know she cheated and that she's pregnant. I am angry. I want answers, and I want her to feel lower than pawn scum for what she did to me. I haven't been a perfect boyfriend, but I've worked my butt off to improve every aspect of myself for her. I've treated her with nothing but love and respect. I've been given various advice from loved ones, but I want to ask you all. Any advice on how to approach this? Sometimes you can give someone the world, but they have their own priorities. You want advice? Quit calling her your GF. She should now be your ex. Just hurting yourself by sticking around. You gave her a chance and she had no intention on being faithful, and this will continue. Just do what you said you would do and leave her. Would I be the antagonist if I picked up lunch for my whole office except for one coworker? Since the pandemic, I rarely go into the office in person. I go in maybe once a month, and when I do, I like to order out for lunch to try new restaurants. My coworkers noticed I was ordering fun lunches and wanted in, so now when I go into the office, I'll circulate an email inviting other people to order. If they Venmo me the cost of their food, I'll pick up the order from the restaurant. I am not making any profit here. Everyone pays for their own food, myself included. I am simply driving out to pick up the orders and bring them back to the office for people. One of my coworkers orders every time I am in. The thing is, she is an extremely picky eater to the point that I don't know why she bothers trying new restaurants since she is always unhappy. She essentially eats plain meat, no seasoning, and cannot be ethnic meat, whatever that means, and either plain rice or bread. She does eat chicken nuggets and hamburgers and plain foods like that. She doesn't eat vegetables or dairy, and her food cannot have any seasoning, not even salt. If her meal comes with anything else, she gets upset. I've asked, and she doesn't have any food allergies. She makes so many modifications and special requests to her orders, and somehow every restaurant always gets her orders wrong. She gets mad at me every time this happens. It's to the point where I open up her order at the restaurant before I leave, at her request, to double-check they prepared the food how she wants, but half the time I don't even know what to look for because her order is so specific. She's asked me to drive her food back, get a refund, etc. I think this is unreasonable and also would take time out of my workday. I am not a paid meal delivery service. For example, last week I went out and picked up Chipotle for everyone, about 10 people. For her order, she wanted white rice and carne asada, with nothing else. I thought this would be easy. I did the pickup option, and in the store I sorted through the bags and opened her order. It looked right to me. When I got back to work, she was pissed. I guess she was mad that her bowl was not full enough. She wanted me to leave the office and drive back to Chipotle and ask them to fill it to the top with more rice and carne asada. I refused because I had a meeting and didn't have time. Also, I didn't think it was my job. She felt like she didn't get her money's worth, and then asked me for a refund. I didn't pay her and I went to my meeting and haven't spoken to her since. As more background, this woman works in a completely different department from me. She is in no way my supervisor or anything like that. Would I be the asshole if I tell her I can't pick up her order anymore? It's getting to the point where my offer to pick up everyone's lunches is stressing me out. It used to be fun to get out of the office to stretch my legs, but now I dread it. It seems like this situation has become unsustainable, and it's completely reasonable for you to set boundaries. It's not fair for her to continue to expect you to go out of your way to meet her high standards when it comes to food delivery. It's time for her to make her own arrangements moving forward. Am I the antagonist for telling my dad the real reason why he's not allowed to babysit? I am the eldest sibling of 4, and my son is the only grandkid of my father. Me and my husband have been working from home and caring for our child ever since my maternity leave ended about a year ago. It was okay at first because we both have flexible schedules, but about a year in, we realized this arrangement was not the best for our mental health. We decided to hire a nanny Monday and Tuesday so that we can go to the office, socialize with adults, and work uninterrupted a couple days a week. The woman we hired shares the same parenting ideas and has a 3-year-old who she brings to our house on the days she babysits. We're extremely happy with her, and our kid always looks forward to spending time with them. My father, retired, is extremely unhappy we don't just bring the child over to his and leave his grandson with a literal stranger instead of family. The thing is, my father knows nothing about kids and is unwilling to learn, claiming he's already an expert. He hasn't changed a single diaper in his life. He was the kind of father that comes back from work, eats dinner, scolds the younger kids for 15 minutes and retreats to his office to drink whiskey and read for the rest of the evening. Ever since my son was born, Dad has been giving unsolicited parenting advice that are borderline insane, like telling me to potty train a 4-month-old, and mocking my parenting choices. I've put up with him only because I know how hard it's been for him since Mom passed away 3 years ago, but I would never trust him with my kid. This weekend he came over for dinner and we had a huge fight about the nanny situation. I lost it and basically told him I'd never leave my son alone with him because he's incompetent to a point it's dangerous to leave a child alone with him. He got offended and told me he knows much more than I do because he raised 4 kids. This is where I might be the asshole. I told him he didn't raise us, Mom did. Asked him what my brother was allergic to, when my birthday was, and similar things just to prove a point. He did not answer and stormed off. My husband thinks I might have been unnecessarily harsh. I admit to having raised my voice and mocking his so-called parenting on purpose. And my sister thinks I'm the for talking to Dad like that as he's been struggling ever since Mom passed away. So, am I the asshole? Hell no, you're not the antagonist. He had his chance to prove his skills in childcare, and your first-hand experience tells you that he's incapable. Your baby is not the way to test him. He has to know that his wife did the majority, if not all, of the childcare, so it's ridiculous for him to keep pushing you about it and then getting mad at you when you told him the truth. Yeah, maybe it was harsh, but your child's safety is not the time or place to back down to keep from making waves. Am I the antagonist for arguing with my girlfriend for wanting to name our firstborn from something she promised her exers? I, 31-year-old man, and my girlfriend, 24-year-old woman, are about to have our first child. We have been together for nearly 6 years now and have overall had a very positive relationship, minus a few bumps and hiccups. I love her dearly and have since we first met shortly after she broke up with her ex from secondary school. A few months ago, we had an unexpected pregnancy and both realized we were ready to have kids. Things were going fine until last week when the issue happened. We have spoken about kids' names even before the pregnancy, and she has never mentioned this, but apparently, when she and her ex were together, her ex made her promise that she had to name her first child after a nickname they had for each other. Apparently, she has kept this promise to heart until last week when she sat me down for a serious conversation and told me about it all. Obviously, I responded with absolutely not, half thinking she was joking. But when she stayed adamant about it for the whole evening, even during a shouting match in which I said some things that I am beginning to regret. Come morning, she was gone. I hardly heard her leave as I was sleeping in the bed, and she had the sofa. There was a note saying she could no longer be with a homophobic, controlling asshole. I am crushed. I desperately want to crawl back to her and apologize, even beg for her to forgive me and come back, but I don't know where she's gone. At this point, I'd accept it as a name. I really love her. Your girlfriend is absolutely insane for wanting to name your child after her ex's nickname, but regardless of that, you need to apologize for the below-the-belt shots you took at her during the argument. It's important to address both issues separately, your apology for being a dick and the main issue of her suggesting a ridiculous name for your child. It's unclear where exactly the line was crossed to determine if you're the asshole or not, but she is definitely in the wrong for attempting to name your child after her ex's nickname. Just figure out what the homophobic comment was about and address both issues maturely. Best of luck. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.